Alright, welcome everybody to another mixing video. Today we're going to be looking at something that I've actually shown in a lot of my videos, but I've never made a dedicated video to that topic. And I figured it was time to do that because I've shown it so much, and I figured people probably have questions about it, so I'll go ahead and clarify some things on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on a dynamic delay. And dynamic delays are really great on lead vocals and lead guitars. So I'm going to show it on both of those sources. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to create a mono delay on my vocal channel here. And for obvious reasons, I will name that vocal delay. And normally I like to use the Lexicon PSP42, but I'm actually going to use Wave's H delay because I've been using that delay a lot lately. And it's just a really great sounding delay. It can get a lot of different colors, and it's just sort of a unique one. So I'll dial this in first, and then I'll go ahead and set up the dynamic delay. So let's check it out.
तू बंदी मेरी कैपुचिनो मैं सस्ती वाली चाय तेरी तू बंदी मेरी कैपुचिनो मैं सस्ती वाली चाय तेरी राजा हूँ मैं तेरा तू ही रह जाना बस मेरी तू बंदी मेरी कैपुचिनो मैं सस्ती वाली चाय तेरी.
Okay, so to me that's starting to sound good. But obviously you can tell that it's a little bit over the top, right? So the way that we're going to control that is we're going to go to our delay return, okay? And after our delay, we're going to set up a compressor. And I'm just going to use a stock Cubase one, and that's the vintage compressor, which as you can tell kind of looks like an 1176. And you just gotta make sure that your compressor has sidechain capabilities. And I know that sidechaining is a little bit different in other DAWs, but it's pretty much the same concept. So I know in Pro Tools you have to use your key input and everything, but it's pretty much the same. And on this particular compressor, I found that this input and output settings are usually around the sweet spot. I'm gonna use a very high ratio, 20:1. Because I really want this to clamp down on this vocal. And the reason I'm compressing this is because I want it to turn down the delay sound when the vocal is singing, and then in between the phrases or when the vocal stops singing, it will let some of that delay sound through. So for that reason I'm using a fast attack, so that way this clamps down as soon as that vocal starts singing. And then we'll dial in the release to taste. So the important thing for this is you're going to activate the sidechain. So this is compressing the delay, but the delay is not what's feeding this compressor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to my vocal channel. As you can see, vocals. And on my sends, I'm going to go to the sidechains. And you can see here it says sidechains vocal delay insert number 2, vintage compressor. So I'm going to select that and activate it. And I'm going to go ahead and keep this post fader, because if it's pre-fader, it will dial in the same amount of compression no matter what the volume is. And that's not what I want. I want this to compress harder when the vocal is louder, and I want it to compress less when the vocal is quiet, because I want this to be very dynamic and let an appropriate amount of that delay through depending on the vocal's dynamics. So let's go ahead and check this out. I'll play some of it, and then I'll dial in this release to taste to hear how that sounds. And if I need to tweak some things on the delay itself, I'll do so.
सुबह की हसीन सी है धूप सी मैं शाम हूँ अंधेरी सी अधूरी सी तू तू सुबह की हसीन सी है धूप सी, मैं शाम हूँ अंधेरी सी अधूरी सी, तेरी हंसी जैसे है रोशनी बिखरी यहाँ हर कहीं, तुझसे मिला मुझको ये आसमां, तुझसे मिली है ज़मीन, मैं सहरा सहरा भटका तू बारिश की है बूंद कोई, मैं सहरा सहरा भटका तू बारिश की है बूंद कोई, रांझा हूँ मैं तेरा तू ही रह जाना बस मेरी, तू बंदी मेरी कैपुचिनो मैं सस्ती वाली चाय तेरी, तू बंदी मेरी कैपुचिनो मैं सस्ती वाली चाय तेरी.
So, as you can see there, I had to use a bit quicker of a release because I wanted to hear those delay tails a little more. And I just adjusted the low pass a little bit so I can hear a little bit more of that because it was just a little bit too dark for my taste. So, usually I like a quick attack, but the release, that's kind of dependent on how much of the delay you want to hear. If you want to hear more of the delay, you will make it faster. If you want to hear less of it, you'll make it slower. So pretty easy. So in the beginning of this video, I said I like to use this trick on lead guitars as well as the lead vocals. So that's exactly what I'm going to show next. And I'm not worried about the output routing for now because this is just for demonstration. But normally I would route this to my my effects buses that I have set up. But for sake of time, I'll just keep it like this. And I'll name it guitar delay for obvious reasons once again. And I'm going to use the same delay, H delay, because this delay is really, really fantastic on guitars. This just reminds me of like a very high quality delay pedal. And I'm going to use very similar settings, maybe just use a little bit more feedback. And to me, the magic of this plugin is that lo-fi button. It just really saturates nice. It gives some nice grittiness to the delay. And that's something that I really like about nice guitar pedals too. Like I play guitar and I use a carbon copy, and that sort of has a grittiness to the repeats as well. So as you can see here, I set up pretty similarly. I'm going to go ahead and go to the guitar delay channel now, and I'll set up a compressor there. You're going to use the same one. So I'm going to use, once again, similar settings. 20 to 1 here, and I'll adjust the release later. So I'll set up my sidechain, and this is going to compress the guitar delay, but the delay is not feeding it. What's going to feed it is our lead guitar channel. So once again, go to sidechains, guitar delay insert number 2, vintage compressor. I'll turn it on, and let's listen to this guitar solo now.
है मेरी प्यास है तू हर खुशी.
Okay, so to me that sounds pretty good. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to play this lead guitar. I'm going to play this lead guitar, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bypass in and out this sidechain so you can hear how much it's muddying it up when you hear just the regular delay, and how much the actual guitar source comes through when it's activated. So let's listen, and then we'll talk a little bit more.
है
So as you can hear, it's just it's really muddy with just the original delay sound. Pretty much, in my opinion, unusable. Even if I know that I didn't adjust the volume of these delays, but even if I dialed this way down, to me that's just way too much. It's fighting the space of this lead guitar. So to me, this is unusable without this sidechain compressor on here. So this is a really easy trick. You can use this in any DAW. You just have to make sure that whatever compressor you're using has sidechain capabilities. So go try this in your mixes. I hope you learned something new from this video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate that. If you didn't like this, you can give it a thumbs down. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, as I always say. If you really like this video, please subscribe. I would appreciate that so very much. Thank you to everybody who's been subscribing. You guys mean the world to me. I would just like to say one last time, thank you so very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day.